My guest tonight is Elline Eliasoff. She's a gerontologist, currently working as an aging life care manager in the Chicago area. She's also a kinesiotherapist, a clinical exercise physiologist, and has worked in home health. She's also a balance and fall prevention specialist. She holds a master's degree in gerontology and a postgraduate certificate in patient advocacy. It's really interesting how these areas connect, how the ability to move as we age.
It's what determines whether you get to age on your own terms or not. I mean, it's one of the major determinants.
Perhaps you can go a little bit deeper into your daily work, the families you typically support.
It's very specific for the client. So I have a lot of families where the kids are here and they're very hands-on, and they really need me just to kind of point and shoot and give them expertise and advice on supporting their parents. Those I kind of call my point and shoot clients. But then I also have clients where either the adult children aren't here or the adult children just aren't able for whatever reason to manage their parents' care. And they hire me, and I basically make all the decisions, all the choices. I mean, it's never a unilateral thing. Usually I let them know what I'm doing. But basically, I'm running them to the doctor, advocating for them, making sure they get their medicine, hiring their caregivers, making sure their dietary restrictions are followed, really like the whole kit and caboodle.
So when these adult children call you, I often think there's been some sort of crisis, some sudden crisis. What do you actually find?
Well, what's a crisis for me after being in this industry for 30 years and what's a crisis for an adult child are very different. And sometimes sometimes it is a crisis, like someone had a stroke, someone fell and broke a bone. They showed up at mom's house and she's been on the floor for 2 days. So sometimes it is an actual crisis, and sometimes it's just adult children saying, I don't know how to do this. Like, she won't accept help. I can't be there all the time. I had one client that every time the kids brought a caregiver in, she would take the caregiver's personal belongings and throw them off her 4th-story balcony. And then when the caregivers went outside to retrieve their things, she locked them out of the house. So that was a crisis because she couldn't manage on her own. So it's different. But I think most of the time, some things happen where everyone just feels overwhelmed, or they realize that their parents are failing and they're not here.
Is there a sequence of events that takes place in the months and years of leading up to the moment when they reach out to you?
Yeah. Again, every case is different, but it's usually just declining health. And, again, when we're dealing with neurocognitive decline, right? So we're living longer. People want to stay at home. The cost of care is horrendously expensive. And usually they'll notice that mom isn't showering. Or I had a client call me last week and they said that mom's grocery bills were $500 or $600 a month. And then when they get to her house, there's no food in the fridge. And when they ask her, where's all the food? She has no memory of what happened to the food, why she spent $500 on groceries, and there's nothing to show for it. So it's usually something precipitates it. In my case, I'll tell you, this is what I do, right, for 30 years. My mother, one day I was at her house and she, very private about everything, but she sort of mentioned I should look at her mail, which she's never asked me that in my entire life. And when I looked at her mail, I realized she hadn't paid a bill in 8 months. Yeah, my own mother. So, and I was like, Mom, what's up with this? She's like, I'm almost 90. I should be able to live on my own terms. I don't want to pay bills anymore. And I was like, Mom, that doesn't work, especially with the IRS and the electric company. And so some of it was easy to straighten out, and the IRS was not easy to straighten out. She hadn't paid in 2 years. I'm as old as I am. I don't need to pay the government taxes.
So are there signals that adult children sometimes miss when they're looking for the wrong thing? Bills unpaid are pretty obvious, but are there signals that are missed that go unnoticed?
I think so. I think it's weight loss. I think it's hygiene, also just the cleanliness of the physical environment. But again, if the adult children aren't with their parents and they're not visiting, they're not going to see it. So a phone conversation, long distance, and mom says, no, I'm doing great. You have to come in and lay eyes. Now I show up, I drive to Wisconsin once a month and go see my mom, and I have more eyes on her and more support in place. But You have to see your parents and not just listen to them because they'll tell you what they want you to hear.
When there's help finally being offered, um, the elderly parents usually or often resent it. So what do you tell the families about that dynamic?
Normally, once people get supported, and I always say we support people to their level of independence, and once that gets going, usually the older adults are like, oh my God, thank God. Why did I resist that? So usually it's just a hump we have to get over. Give it 2 to 3 months. And I promise you, your parents will appreciate it. And 90%, 98% of the time, people are so grateful and they're like, wow, why did I fight this?
So if a family is sitting at the kitchen table tonight thinking, I can't do this anymore, what's the first thing you'd say to them?
Well, the first thing is figure out what's going on. So there's permanent things going on like dementia, but then there's also things like infection. Like mom could just have a bad infection that she hasn't gone to the doctor and it hasn't noticed. So usually I tell people, take your mom to the doctor and run blood, run urine, get a physical, and make sure you're not missing something like an infection. But secondly, call an aging life care manager. And there's also social service agencies that will come out. Like I live in Chicago, so the city of Chicago has what's called Age Options, which is the local agency on aging. And they'll come out and do a needs assessment. So it's just getting somebody with some expertise in aging to come out and kind of do an assessment and then going to the doctor.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd add?
No, also, I mean, the other thing is people don't drink enough. Older adults don't drink enough water. They really don't. So the other thing is just to push water because there's no way most older adults are taking 8-ounce glasses of water a day. So do what you can to push water, push fluids, jello, anything that watermelon, and just make sure people are eating well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. Nice talking to you.